What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today, RTA tier list end of season is coming. We did it last time. We're doing it again. We're gonna be doing this pretty much every time. We got some changes. I got some, different opinions now on some stuff. And yeah, I mean, I will be looking at my previous tier list a little bit to just kind of remind myself what I did. But yeah, a lot of stuff will not change, but some stuff definitely might change because we got some new units as well now. The hackers are here, so yeah. Let's just start with the usual one to rule them all, Leo. Just going on the list as always, right? Next, we're gonna go in a row here and just, put the units that I think are deserving to be on the list. Some units that are not used enough, or yeah, stuff like that I'm not gonna put on the list at all. So yeah, Velajewel now is getting used. He's getting used a good chunk actually, and I wouldn't put him like super high. I think he's good, but I wouldn't rate him super high. 80 to 85 is a fair ranking at the moment. It might change. I might change it up to 80. I think it's a lot about Chandra right now, and he's kind of an enabler for Vela a bit. But yeah, I mean, it's getting used a lot. It's a good unit, good immunity. These four, I don't really think I should put. I don't see any of them really being used in RTA, so yeah. Hey gang, that's an easy 100. Still the meta, still the king, everyone's using it. Yeah, I mean, they haven't changed them, and yeah. Chongpong, it's kinda tough, honestly. I had him in 85 last time. Cookie got buffed now as well. You don't see a lot of Chongpong, man. Like, Chongpong really kind of fell off. You don't see him a lot for a reason, right? I mean, he's still good. He still, has a great kit, but more and more counter units are coming up, so I will still put him in 85. I think he's, it's still Chongpong. But yeah. Mukwal, I'm not sure. Like, I don't really want to rank him because I barely see him at all. Chandra. Now, Chandra, I think, is a little bit crazy, right? Speed lead with can't miss a crit, basically, with nice skill 3, tanky. Just a very meta defining unit, I guess, now, because like he's getting picked a ton. I don't think he's on A gang level or anything, but I think justified 95. If you want to put him in 90, I understand it, but yeah, it's a meta defining unit now. There's a reason why he's being used so much. Teor, 85 in my opinion. I think he's very strong actually. Yeah, Sean, I think probably in the 90s. I think I ranked him in the 90s last time as well. I think he's really strong. But yeah, deserves to stay on the same spot. These I'm not gonna rank. These I don't think I'm gonna rank. I don't see enough of them. Even Beelzebub, I feel like it's just less and less seen. I feel like people understand that he's not really that usable. I could put him in the 70 just to be there, I guess. Because I think I see more than Arda. Arda just, I don't know, man. The reason why I skipped him, I just don't Like, I don't see him anywhere, to be honest. Sekhmet, I think Sekhmet still deserves to be a 90. I think she's very strong. Gets memed a lot, but super, super strong still. Isis, I feel like is getting more value now. Again, like, I feel like every patch she does get more value. I understand the argument that you know, after doing her thing she doesn't do too much, but most of the time Isis just gets banned anyways, right? She has a very high ban rate, which it is a strong thing about the unit. Like, it is very strong that you can use a unit like hardcore force ban, you know, and if it goes through, it still does give pretty good value, honestly. So I think she's a little bit underrated. I feel like the drafts where people draft her are not good enough, so even if she stays, you might not have enough to beat your opponent. So I think against turn 2, if your draft should have enough to deal with your opponent, even if you're drafting Isis. Next, Nephthys. Nephthys is a 95 pretty easily. Yeah, don't have much else to say, honestly. She pretty much is. In my opinion, she might even be the best dark unit at the moment, but yeah. These we're not gonna rank. Rad, I could give him an 80. He's solid. He's actually solid, just not used a lot, but I would say he's pretty solid. Jeremiah as well deserves to be, honestly, in the 80s. I can see him. I see him used a decent chunk. I like him. Zerath, now Zerath is a little bit again super underrated in my opinion. Like, you can see some people using him very effectively, you know, even in G3. You guys might know Dustin, he does use him a lot. Underrated a lot in my opinion. You can see some Chow even being used, to be honest, so I'll put him on the list. Again, this list isn't shaming units, you know, even if you're in the 70s, you're still kinda used, you know, you're not absolute trash. Like, the draft might not be, you know, it might not be drafted too often, but you're still used a little bit, right? You have some potential. Ragdoll, I would say 90. Abelio's very strong, probably 85. I think I had him in 85 before as well. And yeah, I still like him a lot, honestly. Volantis as well. Not used too much because of Hagag, but I feel like people don't really use him how they should at the moment. I know there are counters to him, but yeah, I think he's still pretty usable. Potter, 90. I think he's super strong. Daphnis. I'll put Daphnis in the 80. I like Daphnis a lot. He did get buffed a little bit and kind of nerfed a little bit, but it's more of a buff, I guess. It's not bad. Pisam, I think last time was an 80. I feel like he could be, but 75 is probably more fitting for him. Gani, you're not gonna see a lot of, like, honestly, I feel like I don't even want to put Gani on the list because of how little you can see him. But I think you can still use him very effectively. It's just that, yeah, there's not many Gani users. Oberon, I think as well. Great last pick, honestly. And kind of works like Daphnis. Less RNG, less damage though. It is pretty good though still. Next as well, dude, I think last time this is how we had it. We had all of them in 80, which I think Pisama's a little bit maybe worse than them. He could be in 80. Maybe not, maybe yes. I like Nyx, honestly. Again, I feel like he's underrated. I feel like against Hagang, he can be very, very good. And that's like a big plus. I know it's not super consistent, but realistically, you don't have to really land everything to mess up a Hagang. Realistically, you might even mess up your opponent even more if you miss some stuff. And you're running, you know, Nyx. I use them on some accounts, and I feel like many people are not seeing the value of Nyx. You know, just being able to put a random swift set, like a 300 speed swift set, on him and just have a pick like that, it's pretty strong, honestly. And the defensive mechanic is very nice too. Sometimes, you know, it can help you, but I feel like he's pretty underrated. I want to see more people use him against Hagang especially. Celia's not seen a lot. It's pretty... No one really drafts her. I can't really draft her. I do like Celia, I just can't draft her. It's pretty much impossible. Especially when these two units exist in the game. It's very hard. Like, it's super hard. I would still rank her. You know, I still want to rank her because I think she has potential. But yeah, it's pretty hard to use. Viva Chill, I think Viva Chill is a 90 in my opinion. She's just such a strong unit. Like, let me see. The last time, I think, I don't even know if I had her. I had her in 85, I think, last time. But man, she's just so powerful. A big reason is because of Leo, right? Because Leo's such a strong unit, and then they pair so well. But it's like such a good Swift unit. It's kind of ridiculous. You know, one of the hardest things to fight in the game, I feel like, is Viva Chill. No matter what comp I'm playing, it's always such a struggle to fight her. But yeah, I like her a lot, honestly. Etna, I like her. Do I want to put her in 90? I don't feel like Etna... I feel like Etna is getting used less now, a little bit. I don't like her as much as I like Sekhmet as an example. I feel like Sekhmet is more versatile right now. You could argue that she's in the 90s, but I can leave her in 85. I think she's super, super strong, and you guys know she got buffed a million times to be like very, very powerful. But I think there's a lot of counters. I think it's very easy to just counter her. So yeah. Next, Asima. I would put her in 80. Mostly because of the amount of lack of versatility, I guess. Because it is mostly a turn 2 unit against turn 2 players. Or you could use her in a mid-range fight as well. But that's the thing. If you're fighting a turn 1 player, you will never be able to use her. If you're fighting someone who's a little bit trying to contest speed, it's kind of a risky pick to pick her. But for the purpose that she has, I think she's still pretty strong, you know. I'm not gonna put Kraka because I don't see her enough. Han is a 90. Debate, actually, I'm starting to like this unit. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like, I've seen some replays. I've seen some stuff, okay? I've talked to some people. Dude, I kind of like the Bay, honestly. Is it a bold move to put him in 80? Probably still, because we still don't have enough information or like enough testing from people to see if he's actually good. But I think he is closer to 80 than ever, honestly. And this is not a meme. Like, I actually like this unit. Widget, I think it's an 85 most likely. It is just a solid unit still. I like him a lot. I use them a lot as well. I think he's solid. Ongi, it's a 75 or an 80 after the nerf. it did drop pretty low. Like, it did drop pretty low. But could he still be in the 80s? Potentially. I'm not a huge fan though, but potentially we can leave him there. I don't want to fuck him up too hard. I'm not gonna rank these four, even though you guys know I'm using a Kamamir. You know what? I'll put him in. I don't think he's great, but I think he deserves to be in. Okay. Veromos, on the other hand, is Veromos an 85? Like, that's the question. Like, I think I had him in 80 before, if I'm not mistaken. I think Veromos like could just sit in 85 probably. I like him a lot. You know, I do like him a lot. Let's put him in 80 for now. Okay, let's put him in 80 for now. These are not used. We're not gonna put them. I don't see him enough. Cardinal, you don't really see him enough. I guess you could rank him in 80. He's okay still to use. Sagar, on the other hand, is getting used a ton. And I think he is better than Chompong right now. So I think he can probably sit in the 90s. 85 also potentially. He does get hit pretty hard. Like this wind cookie or this fire cookie buff that happened, you know, she was already so strong against pushbacks. And now she's even crazier and you have so many counters to push back. Now, like the turn 2 stuff, that's very, very strong. And it's a wind unit at the same time. I feel like he should be with Velachul, honestly. So 85, I think, is pretty fair. Like, if you want to argue that he's 90, you can. You know, I wouldn't, you know. But yeah. I think it's a fine spot for him. I don't think he can really compete with these over here, to be honest. Craig, not really seen much. This guy, not even seen much. These are not really seen much. I don't really see a point ranking them. You could maybe put a Nana in like a 75 or something. 80, 75 potentially. It's just there's not much pick rate, right? So I don't really know where to put her. I guess if we were to rank her, she could be in 80, right? Like, it's still pretty solid. For the turn 2 people, it's still pretty solid. Like, sometimes you'll see her. Fire Monkey. Fire Monkey is solid, man. Like, he's like so overtuned that I feel like he's just a 90. He's way too overtuned right now. I mean, I think that's why I put him last time too, and it's just purely deserved. It's a crazy unit. Light Monkey, we can put him in 85 with the classic pushbacks. He's definitely better than these, but yeah. Again, the cookie, the water cookie, the fire cookie just makes it worse, even worse. And then you have Veromos, you have Junos. Yeah, there's a lot of counters. Josephine buff as well. I feel like all these pushback units, Sagar, like Chompong, Light Monkeys, just they got hit pretty hard, you know. That's why like you won't see too many Chompongs, Light Monkeys. Sagar you see a lot because he does really just pair well with Vela and Chandra. But yeah. These we don't see enough. These we just don't see much. Charlotte can be an 80. Laura is a 100. Laura's a 100. Still, definitely, yeah. solid. Nikki is 90 probably, 85 potentially. She did get a nerf. I never really saw the appeal for Nikki. I think she was always good, but it always felt like she was just a LD that needed other LDs to perform good. That's how it always felt. So yeah, I'm just not a huge fan. I think she can still be a 90. You could put her in 85 potentially, but yeah, it's all right. Tomo, I think is a 90 pretty easily. In my opinion, the best, pretty much one of the best speed leads that you can run for a turn 1 team. It's just a very, very solid unit. Shizuka is still like somewhere in the 80s, 85s. What did I give her last time? I gave her an 85. I think she could still be an 85. I mean, it's just so much that she does overall. So yeah, she's still very strong. Gyo, you don't see her much. It's like a Luxac unit more than anything. I could put her in though. Seimei is very strong. I mean, it's very strong. It's just very, very strong. Dooman, now, Dooman is a crazy unit, honestly. Like, the thing is, lately I've just seen so much of this Dooman pick where she just has to get banned or you instantly lose the game. Like, I've never seen a more scary unit for people to fight. Like, especially for mid-range people or turn 2 people. It's kind of ridiculous how you can do literally any draft that you want and just pick a Dooman and you know she's getting banned. Like, I think she's just very, very, very strong. Is she in the level of, like, these units in the 90? Potentially, like, you could put her in 85, you could put her in 90. It's, you know, there's a potential. I think last time I put her in 85. We can keep her. It's whatever. Honestly, it's one of these two. You could argue. But yeah, she's just very, very strong. I think she deserves to be very high. Juno. Last time I think it was 100. I think I'll put her in 95. This time, I do want to make a little bit of a difference between some of the 100 units now. And yeah, I think she's still Juno. She's still insane. Yeah. Praha, I would say 80. Solid unit. Sierra getting more use lately, but I still think it's an 80. It's not super strong, but it's okay. It's strong. Like, it's good. Lima could be an 80, could be an 85 potentially. You could argue for either. I'm not a huge fan of her though, but I think she's okay. Gianna as well, I think a little bit underused now. I feel like people are just really going with the narrative that it's like, oh, Hey Gang exists, you can't really play her, but she fits really well with Hey Gang if you wanted to play her. You know, some units don't fit with Hey Gang, so you can't just go Hey Gang plus those units, but she kind of does, so you can use her in that sense. You can also use her as a Nemesis unit, which can be pretty strong. Like, we've seen it. It is kind of disgusting. So yeah, I mean, I think Gianna still has value. I feel like these people don't really want to go back into it. But yeah, Josephine, disgusting. She got buffed as well. Is she an 85 or an 80? We can slap her an 80. It's fine. You could argue that as well. These I'm not gonna rank. We don't see them. These we don't see, except I mean, sometimes you're gonna see Fengyan, but I'm not gonna rank him. Tian Lang is 100. Tian Lang is a hundo. Still, he's him. Now, these we don't see enough. Chiwu is solid. Just a solid stripper, man. 85 in my opinion. Still pretty good. These, nothing. Wunsa, it's a 90. These we don't really see. We don't really see Tiana too much. Eleanor, I think maybe I gave her 90 last time. I think potentially she could be. Eleanor is such a versatile unit. I feel like many of things that she can do, people don't even know about because they're not testing it in those ways. So I think it's a super strong unit. So I think she deserves to be in the 90s. I think she does. This thing, he got buffed. You have to look at it from perspective of what he does to people's drafts, not just like when he's in. The fact that you have to always draft thinking about him, and if you don't, you're fucked, deserves to be pretty high, honestly. And with the buff, it's even more annoying. Yeah, more. I would say 85 as well with him. Pretty much the spot for him. Next, these guys I can't really rank. These guys, I do want to put Poseidon in 80. I think he's solid. I think he's a super underrated follow-up unit. Triton, I still think he's an 80. It is very solid for the turn 1 fights. Pontos is probably an 85. Yonhong is still 90 probably, I would say. 90 probably. Next we have Miles is really not used. I don't even want to rank Miles anymore. Like, I have not seen a Miles in a very long time. If I'm being honest. Oliver can sit in 85. Jackson is disgusting. 90. Already ranked these. Bella, you don't see Bella too much. I think it's an 80 though. It's solid. It's solid. Riley. Do I want to rank Riley? Like, some of these units are good, but it's like you don't see him too much anymore, but you know from like experience when you did see them that they are good. So I think she can still be, she's still being used, right? For the turn 2 people who do draft her, it's pretty good. This unit is an 85, very strong in my opinion. She could even, you know, yeah, I mean for now 85 is fine, I think. The horses, again, you won't see too much. Diana could be like a 70, 75. That's the only one that you see that much, and this one as well. Could be an 80, 85 potentially. It is a disgusting unit to fight. You could argue 85, but we can put her in 80 for now. Masha's still an 85, I think. Just a solid pick. These are not really picked much. You saw maybe some Savannah come back recently. I built her, some other people built her. But they're solid. Like Narsha is an 80. Savannah can be used, but she is pretty weak to Leo. Where Narsha is just a little bit less. Right? This thing is an 80 in my opinion. Again, super underrated unit, man. Like, I feel like more people should use her for sure. Vanessa, 85. Camila kind of fell off. She's still probably an 80 or even a 75. We can leave her an 80, I guess. This thing can be 75. You do see her sometimes. Julianne. Julianne is 100. Julianne is a hundo. I'm thinking Nephthys maybe even in 100, but I think I need to make a little bit of a just difference between them. And this is probably the 100. I don't know if anything else would be added in the 100. Probably not. We have these, which you're not gonna see too much. Most of them. Carlos is like usable. It's not seen too much though. I would say Maxi's an 85. He is getting weaker as well a little bit. Fire Cookie, stuff like that. Abelio's there. It's pretty annoying to use when there's such units in the meta. But yeah, Minato, it's okay. Nothing too crazy though. These, not really seen. Sonya, still solid 80, I guess. It is getting super destroyed by the amount of counters now that exist. And it's like, people just don't pick her too much, man. Like, you guys saw, like, even the people who pick her, they get discouraged to pick her because, like, everything is a trap now. And it's so easy to build traps, and even if it's not a trap, you go minus wind and she can never kill anything. Like, it's very, very hard to use her. Like, almost impossible. That's why, like, you don't really see much Sonya anymore. So yeah, she can still be an 80, I guess, but yeah, not that great anymore. Veronica, I feel like Veronica is a 90 now, honestly. Like, I don't know, after this nerf recently, it's like still good, but I don't see much Veronica. Like, a lot of times I will go 30 wings in G3. I will go 30 wings and not see a single Veronica. Like, that's kind of the state of Veronica right now, honestly. I'm just, from my personal experience, I haven't seen her much. I don't really have too much trouble fighting her either. I think a lot of people don't, especially because they can pivot. I don't pivot really, but I bet a lot of people pivot against Veronica, and it just kind of becomes a useless pick, honestly. Like, I've seen people just go into Veramos stuff against Veronica, and it just, I don't know. One proc now, and you have your skills. It's kind of tough. But yeah, I don't think she's in 95 though. I don't think she's in 100. No way. But I think still a 90 is fair. Alright, this unit, Jesus Christ. Is this a 90 now? Like, I don't know, man. Like, this unit is actually ridiculous. Non-stunnable, booster healing, triple revenge, works. You can heal a ton. Fucks the pushback. This unit, it's a 90 now. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, this is probably a 90. It is ridiculous how, like, Comtour just goes from just looking at this super strong unit and they're like, okay, we need to buff this. I want to see the devs and their thought process behind buffing already strong units. Like Josephine, like the cookie. Like the cookie is ridiculous though. Like, I don't know. The amount of times I've seen someone draft a cookie with some other turn 2 stuff and you cannot win. Like, you cannot win. There's nothing you can do to win. Like, it is such a strong counter pick. It's ridiculous. Like, honestly, I think it can be in IT right now. It's kind of stupid. What is next? Water cookie. Water cookie's solid still. I don't see her too much anymore, but I think it's solid. Could be like an 80 to 85. Whatever you want, honestly. Fire cookie, I think it was hyped up a little bit, but I think it's not as strong as much as people were hyping it. I haven't seen too much of it. I've seen some people try to use it, kind of like Frigate did. I feel like Frigate had a bigger hype and he was used more than she did. And Frigate fell off as well. Kinda like it was expected, right? But yeah, I can put her on the list. It's a 75 probably. 75, 80. It's not terrible, but it's not that good. This one can be an 80. I think it's solid. Could be maybe even an 85, potentially. But I think it's solid. I think it's solid. More of a siege arena defense unit, but I think even in RTA it's solid. Don't have too many complaints about it. Ginger Brave still a god speed fighter. I think maybe I put him in 80 last time even, but you could argue like for speed fighting, pure speed fighting, it's kind of solid, man. Kind of solid. Next, we have Zima, which no one sees anymore because they nerfed him, obviously. So I'm not even gonna rank him because no one picks him. Zabala, I think last time it was an 80. It was an 85. I want to say, was it a 90? I think 85 is pretty fair. Again, this is one of those units you could argue it's a 90. I wouldn't be mad at you. We can put him in 85. Smicer. Smicer's probably a 90. Smicer's probably a 90. He has the ability to just do things. You could argue as well that it's an 85. You could. I wouldn't, like, honestly, there are some good counters to it. Like, there are. You know, Veromos is crazy, Juno's crazy, the Cookie's crazy. Like, there are a lot of good stuff that you can pick against them. You know, I feel like it became super popular, super meta, and it kind of caught people off guard. But now I feel like it is getting more counterable. It is also not that hard to CC him, but when he moves, he will still activate his thing, right? So there is that thing. But yeah, it's kind of a tough choice. It's an 85 to a 90. Would I rank him with like Ragdoll? Nah, I don't think so. I think he's fine with in 85. You could argue though, I wouldn't be too mad. This unit is heavy loaded. 90. This unit is also heavy loaded. 90. The Bayeks, not gonna rank them. Cass, 85, solid, very solid. Still pretty much the best single target ignore defense unit in the game. nothing really beats her, honestly. Dark Cass, I got her recently, as you guys know, and I thought she was going to be easier to use, but it turned out she is pretty hard to use. RTA wise, you could put her in 80. I think she does have a lot of value against the turn 2 player. In mid-range fights, you might see some problems with the speed lead, right? Your opponent will pretty much always have the advantage over you. In turn 1 fights, it's basically impossible to play her. It is basically impossible. I tried it. It doesn't do enough, right? Because like for her potential to be maximized, you need to skill 3 into skill 2, get protection and get the damage. And you can do both, of course. And to build her to move in front of your team, you're going to be missing a lot of damage. But if you don't make her to move in front of your team, you're not getting the attack buff. There's a lot of problems with that. Now, I still think she's a great pick against turn 2. And a lot of times it's a force ban, which allows you to draft whatever you want, basically. So yeah, I think she's still an 80. I think she's solid, but pretty hard to use. You're not going to get many games in if you have her. But yeah, I still like her. What are Ezio? I think it's an 80. I think he's still pretty cool. It's kind of like a Triton. A little bit different, but I like him. I think he could use some small improvement, but I like him. Light Ezio, another unit that you don't see much. I'm not going to rank him, but I'll just tell you he's probably a easy 80, in my opinion. But I haven't seen him enough. Maybe I'm, maybe I'm crazy, but I think he's an easy 80, most likely. You know what? No, I'll put him. I know exactly what he can do. Like, he can kill Julians, he can kill any of those units. Douglas's, anything. He will one-shot. He will go through a Nana passive, he will go through any passive. Like, it is a crazy unit to pick against a turn 2 player. So I think he deserves to be here, honestly. It's super strong, man. Like, I have seen replays. I haven't used them personally that much. I've used them a little bit on some accounts, but I think he's just solid, man. This, I'm not going to rank. This is still a 90. It got a slight nerf, but it's just still so oppressive. It's still so powerful. The Indras, I'm not going to rank any of them. These, I can rank. Lila. I think Lila's an 80. She was better, but now there's so much, like, now even with the fire cookie again, getting buffed, and there is like so much. Being a wind unit really hurts a lot of units, but she's still usable, definitely. Like, it's still solid. 80 is still solid, right? Still solid. These I can't really rank. Water, fat guy. It's good. It's an 80, 85. You could argue. Doesn't really matter where you put him. He's in that range. Gapsu is still Gapsu, I would say. Did he fall off a little bit? You could put him in 85. The cookies. This is solid. I think it deserves to be an 85. Most likely, it's getting picked a ton. It does have pretty solid skills, man. And yeah, speed lead, solid. The other angels, not really picked a lot. Haven't seen much of them. Geralts, I'm not gonna rank them. Series, I'm not gonna rank them. Trisses, I got this now. but I'm not gonna rank her yet. Okay, I don't know yet. It still looks like a very just against turn 2 unit, but we'll see. Okay, I need more info. I need to see some other people maybe as well, test her. I don't know. For now, we're not gonna rank them. I think Water Yennefer I can rank because I have seen her enough and I've used her enough. And yeah, I think solid 80. Now, tricks. Now this unit is solid. Okay, this unit is kind of crazy. Okay, he kind of revolutionized a style of RTA, right? He kind of brought it back. Cleave has been dead for so long, but now we're getting Trix, who's kind of reviving Cleave, not like a pure attack buff Lucian Cleave type of thing, but he is reviving it with strip defense break mechanic. Just safe, right? It's a very safe stripper, very, you know, and it's not just defense break. You have the slow, you have the block thing, you have the multi-hits, the good damage. Like, it's a safer strip than 100% strip one hit. Like, it's 4 hits to strip, right? It's pretty good. It's pretty good, man. Like, I've been using him so much. Like, it's actually such a good unit. It's kind of like the new Lila in a way. Like the Lila Hey-Gang teams were super popular, and now Trix came in and it just made it so much better. Also, you're not weak to Douglas if you're drafting Trix, which is huge. That's like a big problem with Lila comps. You can easily fall victim to Douglas, so it's so good. He's so good. And then the rest, I haven't seen this guy enough, but this guy I can probably rank, because it is kind of crazy to limit debuffs to 2. It's a crazy counter to CC stuff. I think he's solid. Yeah, that's kind of it. That's kind of it. Now again, this is my personal opinion. You could, a lot of these units, you could go up, down 5 points, right? It's not a huge deal, you know. But overall, I think it's like okay. I think it's a okay little list. Leo as always, being Leo. Hey-Gang still ruling. I think light LD5s going crazy, still the best. Julian, ridiculous. I think these 3 really deserve to be a little bit separated from the rest. And yeah, but you could still argue, right? You could still argue some of these could go into 95. You could, okay? But yeah, that's it. Let me know what you guys think. No hard feelings. You know, it's just my opinion. Okay, that's it. Stay safe. Take care. I will see you in the next one. Peace out.